we're starting. Hey guys, Hannah here. I just wanted to talk a little bit about my 4th of July night door dashing. Learning curve. I ended up calling a lot of customers, which I don't like to call and talk on the phone, you know, it feels like harassment. But I did it. It was out of my comfort zone and learned it's really not that scary. You just say what you need to say and that's it. I had a total of 9 deliveries last night between 8:30 p.m. and 12:50 in the morning. I made $97.76, I believe, so it was about $23 an hour, but 3 of those orders were canceled, so I got half reimbursement because I did end up going to each store for those. But if you contact customer support through the Dash app, you can get reimbursed if you're still at the store location, so that they can see that you were there, that you did half the job, correct? And instead of like unassigning it and not getting anything, you should get paid because you were still doing your job, whether the customer picked it up or the store was closed, not accepting orders, because that happened to me. So the 3 cancellations, one, the customer canceled because I was telling them that it was going to take me extra long because the drive-through lines were crazy. Another was canceled because they said that the order just wasn't taken off DoorDash, and the customer, there were many Dashers trying to pick up this order at Shaw's, but Shaw's doesn't take DoorDash after 8 p.m. and I didn't know that, and it was like 10 something when I went to go pick it up. So that was canceled. And then my first order was canceled but it was canceled through me. Like, they weren't canceled. I was still actively doing them, but I learned that the customer picked it up when I got to the restaurant, and I still need to verify it. So I contacted Dash Support because I didn't want to unassign it and get penalized for it when I was just doing my job and I had no idea that the customer picked it up. You know what I mean? Like, they had texted me, but I was already 12 minutes into the drive when they did that, so I didn't see it. But yeah, I think coming to my calculations, the total amounts DoorDashing on a holiday versus DoorDashing not on a holiday, they're pretty much the same, okay? Like, yeah, the peak pays were slightly higher last night. That's why I continued doing it, because it said $8 peak pay added to the base. But I only got that one time. And then when I looked back, because something that I do when it comes to DoorDash is I don't look at the tips when I'm doing deliveries. I know that can cause some, you know, rage or whatever, so I don't even bother with that. I'm curious, so I look at it afterwards, like when I'm all done dashing and I'm home, you know, and I can't, like, it's all done, it's all over, so there's nothing that I can do about it. Not that I really would do anything anyway. Like, I take it for what the amount is when it pops up, and you decide if you want to take it or not, you know what I mean? Like, I always say yes, because I just want to, like, get the orders in and start the dash and go, go, go. Like, I don't like to wait around for the dashes, and I feel like when you decline orders, it takes longer for them to come in, and once it gets dead, I'm out. Like, I don't want to dash anymore. Or if I land somewhere where I'm, like, close to home and I'm not getting orders, I'm just going to go to home base. I'm not going to continue this dash. I don't like to wait around. It feels like a waste of time. And I feel like if you're accepting all the orders, it's going to add up eventually. Like one order will make up for the next, or what have you, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't get too nitpicky with the orders. I pretty much accept them all. I am lucky to be in a small area, though, where it's kind of like everything is close by, so that's pretty convenient, you know. And I did write some notes. So I dashed July 1st, July 3rd, and July 4th. So between the 1st and the 3rd, my total dash time was 4 hours, and I made about $92, right? And my total dash time for July 4th was like 4 hours and 20 minutes, and I made about $97. So, give or take, it's pretty much the same. And I think that's because after when I looked at my tips, last night they were not as good as the first and the third, because I think people assume DoorDash is paying more to get Dashers out there on 4th of July, which yes they are, but it's like between $5 and $8. Like, it doesn't really make up for anything for a Dasher working on a holiday if you are not tipping. I know I got a lot of $1 tips. One order I got no tip. Another order I got a penny. I don't know. You know, you really gotta decide. I think it was worth it just for the experience. Like, I had a great night. It was fun. It ended up being fun, right? Because after each stressful situation, it made the next one even less stressful. So I just kept going and, you know, learn more about myself and how I react in those situations, and keeping it cool with people that I'm talking to while trying to get the job done, because nobody is really to blame for, you know, like, for mistakes that happen or what have you. Like, the customer did try to contact me. I just didn't see it because I was driving. It's not like the restaurant's fault. It's not really anybody's fault. But I did say, could you cancel it with DoorDash, because, you know, I'm still on an active dash. And then I was texting DoorDash support, and it just ended up going away after I was reimbursed. And then I was on to the next order. I want to speak to you guys like you'll understand it if you were me. My first order, I started further into my town because I wanted to avoid the next town over, knowing that they were going to have fireworks and it was going to be crazy. And it was. My first order led me to that town that I was trying to avoid. So I don't decline orders. I take even the crappiest. Like, I know one time I DoorDashed for an hour and I made $7.75. And I know, like, I've picked up orders that were maybe $2.25 and the customer tipped 25 cents. You know, like, I don't even look at the tips. That is my solid advice for Dashers. Don't go and look at what the customer gave you, because you might just get upset, do something out of hand, and then lose your dashing job. That's not worth it, okay? Take it for what it is. Anyway, that's what I did. I look at the tips when it's all said and done and I'm home, you know, and the dash is over. That's when I look at the tips, because I'm just curious. It's out of pure curiosity. My first dash led me to the town that I was trying to avoid. And as I was driving through the town, it was really, really chaotic, and I was second guessing my choice to dash that night. When I get to the restaurant, I walk in, they're telling me that the customer already picked it up. Okay, so then I turn to the app. I'm feeling a little anxious now. I'm like, oh my god, I just drove 20 minutes in the direction I didn't want to go in, through all that 4th of July traffic to get here. And, you know, I'm still on the active dash and they're telling me that the customer picked it up. So I see that the customer texted me 8 minutes before I got to the restaurant, but I was already 12 minutes into my drive to the restaurant, so I did not see the text. And I just asked the customer to cancel with DoorDash because I still had to verify the order, you know, but how could I do that now? And then I contacted Dasher support as well. And then all of a sudden the order went away and I got reimbursed for half of it because I did half the job. I showed up at the restaurant to pick up the order, right? So that's really, really good to know. You do not have to unassign yourself. That may cause a penalty to you. Instead of unassigning yourself, if that were to ever happen, don't even talk to the customer. Go straight to Dasher support. They will talk to the customer for you and figure it out and hopefully reimburse you if you are still at the store pickup location, so that they can see that you made it there and that you did half the job. And then after that, I was heading back towards my town because I wanted to avoid that area where all the fireworks were going off. I think I ended up getting, my next DoorDash order was to Shaw's, right? It was for $22 and I was like, yeah, let's do that. I was really excited about it. And then, you know, it was close by, but any which way that I went, the police told me to go a different way because they were trying to get people, you know, sorted with fireworks. And I took a detour. I went back off the highway, did a U-turn, tried to get off the next exit, but it was blocked. So then I kept going to the next town, and I was like, okay, I'll drive through the town to get to it instead. But then it said I was a mile away and it was going to take an hour. So I called the customers to let them know, which was out of my comfort zone as well. Calling customers, calling people, talking on the phone. It's not really my thing, especially people I don't know. I don't like to call people I don't know, but I think the more you do something that's uncomfortable, the more you realize that it's not really scary. I mean, for me, that's how it was. I ended up calling 2 other customers that night. And, yeah, so he was like, all right, thanks for letting me know. I ended up getting to the store because I cut through some parking lots. Instead of an hour, it was like an extra 10 minutes or whatever, which was great. And then I land at Shaw's. I go inside. I talk to the first person that I see because it's completely dead. And I'm like, I'm here to pick up a DoorDash order. I don't know where to pick it up. Like, I don't know how this works. He's like, oh no, like, we stopped doing that at 8 p.m. I didn't know that. So I was like, oh, okay, like, it's active right now. How is that possible? And he's like, oh yeah, multiple Dashers have tried to come and pick this order up. Like, it's still active on the app being sent out. So I even told Dasher support when I talked to them that they need to remove the order, because you're just going to be, hopefully Dashers out there know that they can receive half the order payment just for going to the store, even if you didn't pick anything up, if you talk to Dasher support. Because I'm like, you're losing money too if you keep paying all these Dashers that you're sending out, which I hope you are. Anyway, so that was canceled. And then I got a McDonald's order, and parking lot was crazy. Inside of the McDonald's was crazy. The line was crazy. I hopped in the line. I thought that's what you do as Dashers, And then I pull up to the speaker. I tell them that I'm picking up a Dasher order. I tell them the name. They tell me to pull up to the window. I thought everything was good. Then I get to the window, and they tell me to come inside to pick it up. They only do Dash orders inside. It was ready to go as well. So then I'm pulling into the parking lot to park the car, go inside. There are 2 ladies chatting in their cars, blocking me from doing so. They're in separate cars talking. I ended up beeping because they weren't paying attention to me at all. The lady was like, yeah, like, you can wait a minute. And I was like, no, I'm dashing. Come on, let me through. I need to park. And she was like, cool, like, I dash too. And I was like, okay, then you would understand. Like, what do you mean? They ended up moving. And then I went in, I grabbed the order, I asked if there was a straw in the bag. There was. They were really nice about it. Gave me the order. Obviously, gave me the order. But they didn't give me the order at the drive-thru window. They did give me the order inside, like they said, so glad. Good for their word, McDonald's. And then I ended up getting a double dash. So I had to go across the street to get Taco Bell. But then it was telling me that this McDonald's order had to be delivered in the next 4 minutes. I was like, I don't know how that's possible. So I'm talking to the McDonald's order guy. I'm talking to the Taco Bell guy, telling them both that they're going to be late. That's it, period. They're going to be late. So, I mean, that's bothering me. I don't want to be late. Somehow, I checked after, my on-time rating is still 100%. I keep, like, refreshing it to see if that's going to change, because I'm like, I don't know how, when almost all of my orders were late last night, 100%. Perfect. I don't know how that's possible. Like, they didn't consider the traffic when timing the orders, but they must have considered it after the fact, because it didn't affect me. I did let the customers know as well. I was trying to be as clear as possible, because it just wasn't possible to get the orders to them at the time that it said to do it, And the Taco Bell order they ended up canceling themselves, but I was still stuck in the line, the drive-thru line, because that dining room was closed, so my only choice was to go through the drive-thru. So I was stuck in the line, and as soon as, I was free, I just kept going, because I needed to deliver the McDonald's order. They had been waiting long enough, and I end up at the hospital where he's waiting for it, and it just kind of woke me up and made me realize that my little DoorDash problems are nothing. This guy, it's late, it's 4th of July, he's at the hospital for whatever reason, like, he's really friendly, doesn't, understands why I was late, and regardless of what he has going on, I don't know anything. But anyway, I dashed July 1st and July 3rd as well for a total of 4 hours, and I made $92. So comparing it, it's very similar. It's about $23 an hour, which is great. I'm grateful. But when you're working on a holiday, you would expect to make a little bit more money. And DoorDash it does raise its peak pay to get dashers out there on 4th of July. But at the end of the day, it didn't really mean that I made more money, because the tips were not as good as they were on the July 1st and 3rd. Probably because they think that we're getting paid a little bit more for dashing, so they can just avoid the tip, and then that just means that it ends up being around the same. Now the peak pay doesn't really mean much if nobody's tipping on top of it, but I mean, I'm glad it wasn't worse, so I think that's awesome. And yeah, I know I'm a little bit all over the place. I just want to be quick and try to remember what I'm saying at the same time. And yeah, my thing is too, when I end the videos, I'm always like, oh, I should have said this, I wanted to include this, and then I'm like, oh, I'll redo it, and then I kind of end up doing the same thing, and I don't know, it's hard to just include it all sometimes, even when you write it down, even when I have notes, it's I can't even follow my notes. But if you are interested in tagging along my videos, please, I welcome you to subscribe and like the video if you made it this far. That's awesome. Some days I think about just deleting my account completely and focusing on, life outside of making videos and recording all the time. Even though I don't really do it that much now, it's just because, I don't know, I get in my head about it when I post, and then I'll delete it, and then I get upset that I deleted it because I, filmed it and tried to edit, whatever, and then I just have to remember that getting through uncomfortable times is just how you improve yourself, so that's the benefit. Maybe I'll become a better storyteller, or I can learn how to speak better in front of a camera if I just keep at it. That's my own little personal benefit if I don't think about anything else. But I think that's all I have for today. I do post a lot about my dog. I spend a lot of time with my dog. I'm going to be DoorDashing more. Maybe I'll post more DoorDashing stuff. I didn't get to really record at the same time. Kudos to those who do. I think it's pretty impressive, because it's not easy when you're dashing, keeping up with the directions, trying to keep your phone charged, communicating with the guests, you're driving, recording at the same time. Maybe you want to listen to some music in there. It gets a little bit much. I'm hoping to just create a little positive community on my channel where it's a safe place for me, a safe place for those who join. I mean, all are welcome, but let's just keep it positive. That would be amazing. I think that's all I have to say now. I hope I didn't leave anything out. That would cause me to redo this and try to include it all, but that's not really possible. So I'm just gonna be happy with what we have here. Okay, bye guys.